Hey, so here we are at our first Google Hangout, and so you can click in the message area to type a question if you need to, or you'll have a little icon of yourself online as you enter the Hangout. So I think people seem to be coming in now. Hello, Colleen. So this will be exciting and fun. So I believe the first 10 people will automatically be in a little dialog box, and you'll see your little image up there. And if you haven't done Google Hangouts before, you'll notice if you move your mouse around that you can turn the camera off, or you can turn off the microphone. You can invite other people to the Hangout, and I'm actually inviting somebody in to talk to us too, but I'm going to wait a little while. He'll be silent for a little bit while I just go over some course basics, and he can kind of just watch. And anyways, so I hope everybody's found Notebowl to be okay so far. I've gotten a few comments from people about the platform that they might have some questions. So I'm going to just go over a few things. And one of the things I'm going to do is share my screen so that you can see things. And if people are entering late, don't worry if you missed anything. You can always go back, and there'll be a link to this Hangout that you can watch later. So let's just get started. So welcome to the first Hangout. It's really great to have you guys in the class. I love the class. It's called Design, Culture, and Language. And so I try to do a certain amount of general design, because I know there's a lot of people with different interests. There's some people from illustration in this class, some people from graphic design, some people from science, some people from business. So we want to talk about design in a broad sense. So the first book that you guys have is called The Design of Everyday Things, but it's also a free online book through the U of A library, and I'll show you the link for that in a second in the syllabus. And the second book that we have that we'll be reading from next week is Graphic Design Theory. And unfortunately, there's no ebook for this, and the library there isn't an ebook, so the library can't share it that way. So there is a copy you can get to. If you're in Tucson, you could go to the library and you could read the book there instead of buying it. I try to choose books that are affordable, so I don't think it's too expensive. I think you can get used copies of it. It has great images and great information, so I hope you enjoy it, and I wish I could give you a free version, but that's just not possible. So let's see. So let's just get started with sort of the nuts and bolts of the class. I am going to share my screen, and I know everybody, I've gotten a few comments from people that they don't know the technology, and we're all learning together because they're changing things as we go along as well. So don't be shy about it. If things mess up, we'll fix it, or I'll try to answer it, or just jump in there and try things. So I'm going to try to do a certain screen for you guys to share it, and hopefully then I can go over. Oops, there. Let's see. Wait, nope. Oh, that's that weird thing it does. Okay, so as I was saying, things happen when you're sharing screens. So let me do something different here. So okay, so let me try this a different way. I'm gonna try to go over here. Okay. All right. So you have the Notebowl interface, and on the Notebowl interface, you have your course, and you have your gateway error. Okay, so I'm seeing Natalie's trying to join the live Hangout, but for some reason she can't get it. So Natalie, what you want to do is click on this link down here. I'm going to try to copy that and then actually post it here. So hopefully she can get on. And anyway, so then you have your tabs. So the roster shows the students' documents. You should be able to see the documents here. And under the documents, you'll see that everything's clickable if you click on it. And you can see different things on here PDFs of, there's also some VoiceThread tutorials here. There's links to different books that you might be interested in for some of your projects. So these are all free. Here's the Design of Everyday things, so you can see that at the library. And then, so those are all resources for you. The syllabus, everything is in the syllabus, so you have to read the syllabus. Otherwise, you probably won't know some things that are going on. So please take time to read that. And if people have questions on that, they can, you can ask questions if you'd like on the syllabus today. You could do it through the group chat, or you could, I don't know, I think you can raise your hand in this format. That's something we should probably try. And then under assignments, you'll see it's listed, and you can arrange these in whatever way you want, by the due date or whatnot, and you'll see when they're due, and they'll also show up in the calendar. So that's a nice feature, someone commented. Then you have your grade section, about section that has the books. And those are really the basics of the web interface, which is pretty nice. So I'm glad that that it seems organized more logical than some of the things that are in other course management sites. So I hope you guys find that helpful. Okay, so I am going to stop sharing that and come back to me. And then, so that's the Notebowl overview. The things that you'll notice about the Notebowl, and I'm sorry I forgot to do that. Let me go back to sharing that. You'll see if I scroll down, you can always see what's happening. I try to put the week's activities in there so you'll know what you should be doing this week. And you'll see that there's the two videos that you're supposed to watch. Norman Doors, which is by the author of the book that you're supposed to be reading the first 2 chapters of. So I really think it's a fun video. You should enjoy that. I'm sure everybody's had experiences with Norman doors. That's doors that don't work correctly. And then the other one is called The Genius of Design. It's a BBC series. So once a week, we'll watch one of those. They're about an hour long. So those are really important to do those this week. The other important thing that you need to do this week is sign up for a topic discussion, because next week you can present your topic discussion in this format of Google Hangout. So you get extra points if you do your topic, and points off to people who do it live, because it's a little bit more challenging because we're not used to sort of being in this format. So I really want to encourage you to do your presentation live. You can just talk, or you can show a slideshow. There's many ways you can do that, and I'll get into that in a minute. But the video links are here, and hopefully you all watched the first video as well about what to expect for the class. So those are the things that that are important for this week. So in particular, the other screen I want to share with you is the I'm going to go over to it again. Where is it? Oh, I shut it by accident. Sorry about that. Well, here's the YouTube video of the BBC. And Dieter Rams is a designer who's talking in here, and he is a really interesting person. He has a manifesto about design for good. And if you want to sort of research him further, there's a lot about him as well. So for your topics, if you find something in the reading that you want to branch out from, that's what I want to encourage you to do. So if you find a designer in the reading, or actually an object, like maybe you really like teapots and you want to do your presentation on teapots, you certainly could do that. The voice thread is the other thing you're all required to do this week. And so you will be introducing yourself. Cameron did it, and you see an example of him here. You can watch everyone else's voice threads, and you can comment back to them, and I can comment to you as well. So I want you to get on that as soon as possible, because you get extra points if you comment on other threads other than your own. But if everybody waits till the last day when it's due, you won't have time to go back and comment on other people's. So I encourage you to do that. And it's kind of fun. You get used to it. As you're, when you're doing the voice threads, this little icon will pop up, and you'll be able to see there's a little plus sign, and you can do voice, image, video, text. So I encourage you to try all those different formats for that. And then here's the link from our library where you can read the book for free, so you don't need to buy it. Someone was asking about that. So if you go back to Notebowl and under assignments, if you go to the topic discussions, which everyone has to do, there's a link to Google Docs, and that will show you a timeline of when the weekly broadcasts are starting next week. King actually volunteered. Well, he didn't volunteer to do it live. I'm hoping he'll change his mind after today and decide that he wants to, or she wants to do it live, which would be excellent because it's really kind of fun. And then
oh, I'm gonna walk outside.
So you might want to mute your microphone if you don't have it muted.
Sorry, I didn't realize it was that loud over there.
Yeah, well, it's just because it's a little.
So you just go to the top of the screen and you can mute your your icon. I think I can mute you too. There. All right. So I can mute you, which is it's kind of powerful being here. So anyways, yeah. So you want to fill in your name for one of these topics, and so the first one, someone chose interactive design, and so you can choose that, King, which I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Anyway, so you'll choose your topic, and it's loosely based off the reading. So within the design of everyday things, it talks about affordabilities and visibility, conceptual models. So hopefully King can find a way to use that reading to talk about interactive design. So that's what you're going to make your presentations on, is tying an idea that you're interested in to the reading. So the first reading is that reading, The Design of Everyday Things. And so you'll want to choose your topics, and you will get more points if you present them live. And then in the other book, I have just chapters. So you might just find an image in there that's really interesting, and you might want to research that designer or that illustrator or whoever it may be, or you can take an idea in the book and use that for your presentation. So let's see, I think that's kind of the basics about what we're doing in class. So there's a question from John about D2L. We do not need D2L at all for the class. I have the D2L website up there just to give you some links to some of the videos, because your project number 1, if you've read the syllabus, you'll see that you are going to be doing a movie review, and I give you a lot of links to free movies. And so on D2L, I just gave you the links there, but you can find them in other ways as well. So when we go over the syllabus, I can show you that project. The projects are all listed in the syllabus. And project 1 is what you'll want to start, and you're going to basically write a review of a movie. And so when I say write, I mean you could also create a PowerPoint presentation. You could create a voice thread about it. You don't have to actually write. If you find another creative way to tell us about that movie that you're watching, if you're an illustrator and you wanted to draw a storyboard, you could do that. Or if you're a designer and you wanted to make a poster about the movie, going over sort of interesting things about that. I'm pretty open to what we consider writing, as long as you're communicating about that movie. So I hope that answered that question. And feel free to email me individually if you need to ask questions anytime. So I am going to bring over a guest that we have today from Adobe, and because he's going to show you some new software that everyone and also talk to you about how everyone has access to Adobe these days. So you might want to use one of those products for your presentation if you don't want to write a movie review in sort of a, I'm doing movie review in quotes, which you can't see, but you could do that as well. So if you wanted to do the movie review in some other way, it doesn't have to be a written paper. It could be a verbal video recording of yourself. And so I'm going to have Brian come over here so that he can tell you about these things. And I'm going to try to fix the audio, because I hear a lot better if I have on headphones. And then also I have a nicer mic that I use. So when you're doing your recordings, you'll probably want to use even just your headphones that have a mic on them are better than your computer for inputting video. So for the voice thread or for any sort of video, you might want to use that. This is Brian Fuentes.
Hello.
And you can hear him.
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay? Sure.
Jacob, can you like chat in the chat box, say if you can hear or not?
Yeah.
Because we can't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Should be fine.
You can hear? Okay. Yes. Okay, great. So I'll keep my headphones on.
Oh yeah. No,
You look silly, but
no,
Brian
you
will
look
be here.
you look fantastic.
Okay.
Hi guys. My name is Brian Puente. I am the support specialist for Adobe Creative Cloud here at the University of Arizona. Ms. Zimmerman brought me in to talk about how you guys have access to Adobe and Creative Cloud and Spark in particular, which we'll be using for this project here. Have any of you guys used any of the Adobe suite or Spark or anything like that? I can see the chat. So,
and I can project the video screen here so that you can see.
Mhm.
But in the chat, has anybody used Adobe Spark?
Cool.
No Spark yet. Let me.
No worries.
Do you want me to display that?
Oh yeah, let's go ahead and we'll bring up the web page here, and then we'll talk about how to access it. Make sure that they have access.
And then also, do you guys know that you all have a free subscription to Adobe Creative Products, the Creative Cloud? Jacob, John, you know that? If you don't know that and you need information, let us know.
Yeah, and I'll make sure to kind of I'll make sure that that you have those links as well. But we're gonna go ahead and talk about Spark specifically here. And basically, what Spark is built to be and do is it's built for you to be able to generate content really quickly. As you can see kind of on our shared screen here, the idea is really, it's built for kind of fast content generation. If you look at a lot of these things, they're things you might see on social media, like a quote on top of a picture and things like that. We can also make web pages and all sorts of other things with it. Let's go ahead and do you mind if I may?
Yeah.
Cool. So your assignments talk about different ways you can submit stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and click on this travel journal here. It's gonna show you a website that's built inside of Spark. So if you can click and drag and insert text, you can kind of build a website. It's all very WYSIWYG. WYSIWYG means what you see is what you get, and you probably know that already. But the idea is you can kind of drag in elements and then import them from your computer. But I'll kind of scroll through this website and let you see what it looks like. So this is all stuff that's built on Spark. So this is a person's page that they built that talks about their ode to California. So they can embed video from YouTube or Vimeo on here. So if you're doing a presentation where you want to do some multimedia elements, maybe in lieu of a PowerPoint for that movie review that she was talking about, you may want to put clips of the movie here on the website. Kind of scroll through, and this is a little travel blog, but there's all sorts of different things you can do here, and you'll see it's kind of dynamic when you go through there. If you ever do presentations, people have had a whole lot of success using this in lieu of a PowerPoint, especially if it's live, because they can control kind of manually what it looks like, and it's pretty dynamic. And the video embeds, and it doesn't jump to a different website to show the video, and it does cool stuff like that for transitions. So you can kind of build in your transitions and play it out. But that's Adobe Spark page. It's pretty cool. So if we come back, sorry, losing the mouse. Well, let's speed up just a little bit. Sorry. And then we have Spark Post, and Spark Post basically allows you to create individual images. And then put text on them and that sort of stuff. And we're talking about how to do it on a computer right here, but Spark also has mobile companions that do the exact same thing. So if you have iOS or an iPhone or Android, Spark is available on those platforms, and it's broken up into 3 pieces: Spark Post, Spark Page, and Spark Video. But this is a post that's built there, and then there are videos that talk about how to make stuff. There are thank you cards and all sorts of things. But I'm going to go ahead and walk you guys through the login process of getting into Spark. If you have already submitted for and gotten your copy of Adobe Creative Cloud through the university, that's how we're going to log in. So I'm going to walk you through that real quick. So same thing applies on a phone. If you have an app on your phone and you log in, it's going to be the same process. So If we come up here and we click on login, wait for it to load. Cool. Then you'll see we can continue with Facebook. We're not going to do any of that because we already have an Adobe ID. So I'm going to click login here. And then we're going to click on where it says sign in with enterprise ID. Because what you have is an enterprise ID, and that's what ties you to the University of Arizona, and it's the free thing. So if you've already submitted for, requested, and gotten access to Adobe Creative Cloud, you're simply going to put in your arizona.edu email address. Cool. And then we're going to sign in with enterprise ID. Did I mess up?
You didn't put a password.
Oh, yeah, I didn't. And I didn't put a password in on purpose because you don't need it. Because what it does is it takes you to, I'm already logged in. Actually, I think you're logged in.
I'm logged in. So,
yeah.
Anyway.
So, but what it will do typically, because she's already used this before, is it will take you to your UA NetID login. Then you'll log in with your credentials that you use to get into the school. I'm going to check your grades and emails and that type of stuff. So when you log in, click on Enterprise ID, no password, hit go, then it will take you to a page where you can log in. So these are our projects here. And these are kind of 3 that we're being messed with. So if you want to create a new project, it's pretty straightforward. Hit the big plus button. Not too hard, I don't think. So, and then it's broken up into 3 pieces. So we talked about them a little bit before. We have Post, which allows you to create individual images and stuff like that. Built for social media and quick generation. You guys have probably seen this stuff before, like I was saying. Page allows you to create web pages, which might serve you really well in this course. And then video allows you to create videos, and all of this is browser based. So none of this is none of this is kind of living on your computer if you go through this method of getting work done. And on your phones, it stores locally on your phone, but then it uploads to the website. So what we're going to do here is we're going to select what we want to learn. So what are you thinking?
I don't know. Let's say web page would be good.
Pretty cool. So we want to know how to build a web page. Cool. So, and Adobe Spark hosts all of this stuff, by the way. So like there's no web hosting to worry about or anything. Once you hit share and you save it, it's there as a URL that you can copy and paste into your message boards for an assignment. You can even embed this page into another page if you want. So we're going to go ahead and start with a title. So we're going to call this Adobe Demo. Cool. So, and then we're going to add a subtitle. I'm just clicking. Type this grand. Cool. So now what we want to do is you'll see this little thing that pops up here that gives me suggestions on what I want. So I'm going to add a photo. So we can upload photos that exist that you already have, but Adobe also, when you're using Spark, you have access to a library of photos that are royalty free that'll work great for this. So I'm going to hit Find Photos, and then we're going to look for what we want a picture of. So what I want a picture of is mountains for this. I'm going to type in, we're going to type, and then it's going to search the web, and it will generate these pictures for us we can use. I'm trying to think. I think I like this one. So it's going to add it there as my background element. And then when I scroll down, I have options of additional things to add. Before I go any further, though, I do want to point out that we have themes here on the right-hand side. If I click on themes, I'll see a bunch of different themes that I can use to start building out my web page. I think I'm going to try Luca. So I'm going to click on Luca here. And then you'll see that it changes the theme of my entire website to reflect that. If I chose Wesley, it would do that. Maybe I like that one a little bit better. And then you'll see that once I select it, it's done. So let's go with, just to switch it up, I'll go with, I don't like that one. Yeah, a lot of this is personal preference. I think I was pretty happy with Wesley. Cool. So I come here, and then I scroll down to start writing my story. I'm going to hit the plus button to decide what I want next. So I have a couple different elements to work with here. I have photos, I can insert text, I can add a button, which is great if you're linking to something that's maybe not a photo or a video, maybe it's an article somewhere. Or if you're doing like, you mentioned like somebody's doing a presentation on interactive design, like if it's a link to a game or like some sort of interactive thing on the internet, you can put a link inside of this and then it'll take you to that webpage. There's photo grid and glide show. If I wanted to add a video here, and click on video to do it. I'm going to add an embedded video. So the embedded videos that I can use are videos from YouTube, Vimeo, or Spark. So YouTube is probably where you're going to find a lot of the video content that you may want to embed in one of these web pages. So you just copy the URL, paste it here, and you're good to go. So if I were to take over here to the BBC thing, copy this, Command C, or Control C on a Windows machine, then go back to Spark, then Command V to paste it in, then save. Wait a minute, and then there's our video embedded right in that web page. So then I hit the plus button again, and then I want a photo grid. And then basically I can pick the pictures that I want. I'm gonna pick some more mountains just because, you know, we're theming here. Keep with a theme. And then you'll see that as I click these, and you can also upload your own photos as well. So if you were doing something where you took pictures, you click on upload photo. And if you have some photos on there, we can find one to upload.
I might have one. Let's see. Because I was kind of messing around today with some cool image, I called it.
Yeah.
There we go.
Cool.
So I really like typography, and you guys in the class will learn this, that we'll talk a lot about type. So I thought that was kind of cool.
And typography is, I've seen some of her work. It's really awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save here because I have the 3 pictures I want. And then it embeds them down there. I can put a caption under them pretty easily.
Can you rearrange them?
Let's see.
Edit grid.
We're going to edit our grid. And then if I mouse over, I can
there you go.
Click on it and then have the arrows to move them back and forward.
I like it in the middle. It's centered. Yeah.
And you can also make it large. So like if this was kind of your key, so if you have a key image and then supporting images, you can make that the larger one. You can even click the replace button to replace it. So if you have kind of a lead image you want everybody to see, pretty cool. And then you can slide through. Then I'll hit save here. And we'll save that. So kind of going through there. And then I can add another photo if I wanted to, or whatever it is you want. So pretty cool little thing. Once we're done, we can click preview to take a look at the web page kind of on its own. This is what our live web page looks like. And you'll see that it automatically credits the photos that were used there. So credit's already given. Adobe's already got permission to use all this stuff. It's pretty great. So then when I'm ready to share it, I'm gonna click on the share button. And then I'll name it. I'll pick and if I pick a category, it will be available and searchable inside of Adobe Spark, so other people can see your work, which is pretty cool. So we're gonna put this under other because I don't know what it is. And then the photo credits are listed there. And then your projects can be featured in Adobe Spark. You can turn that on or off. So if you want to keep this really private and it's just for the class, you can unclick project may be featured in Adobe Spark website. Then it won't be searchable or they won't be able to share it. So if I click on create link, we wait for a minute, and then here is our web page. Copy and paste it wherever you want. Done. And this is
so you guys would if you were using this format, you'd copy and paste this into that spreadsheet, the Google spreadsheet, which you all should have access to. But if for some reason you click on that link and it doesn't give you access, I think it emails me and then I send you access. But right now it should be shareable and seeable by anybody that has the link at the U of A. If you're using a Gmail account, if it's not your U of A email, maybe that might be the problem, but just let me know if you have any problem. But this would be a really fun way to make your projects for the class if you want this as a method. And I think you could really, I really like to sort of disturb the medium. So if you want to like do different things with it that are unexpected, you know, make a business thing not businessy, that would be fine too. So I'm really happy this is a tool because it does seem pretty easy to use if you don't want to learn all the other tools that you could use for the project. And if you don't want to write a long paper, I really encourage you to use images and show examples and talk about them that way, as opposed to writing a 7-page paper.
Yeah, and just because my job is going to work with different people all over the university, a lot of professors really like kind of how dynamic Spark is and like the multiple ways you can kind of work with it, and kind of is an alternative to PowerPoint that still conveys the message if a presentation is the type of thing you like to do. So does that make sense? Pretty straightforward.
If you guys have any questions, you could type it in the chat.
Yeah, and then I'll do my best to answer them. So one more thing about Spark is we go back to our main page here, and then we go to click the plus button to create a new video. The videos are pretty cool too. So basically, just like the web page, we're just gonna walk through a video real quick. We're going to name it. So we'll just call it Adobe Demo again. That way you know what to delete when you're done. And then really, this tries to help you out a little bit. So if there's something that you want to do, we'll kind of try and pre-format it for you a little bit. So let's say that you were looking to tell you were trying to promote an idea. If I click on pick this one, it will basically pre-format out kind of the start of my project. You can absolutely arrange everything and anything. When you launch Adobe Spark Video and Spark Post, you'll be greeted with a 1-minute video that walks you through how to do everything. I'm happy to play that for you guys right now, or you can kind of do it when you look at your projects, but basically it walks you through setting up an Adobe Spark video. A lot of what we talked about in Post works here. Do you want me to play it?
Sure.
Cool. So I don't know if you, and there may be prettier audio on your end, but.
Do you guys hear the audio? Jacob, I'm just curious.
The audio from the screen
Yeah.
that you're presenting right now?
Yeah.
No, I don't hear the audio.
You can't hear it. They can't hear the audio.
Okay, that's fine.
So they just hear us.
That's okay. So so I definitely encourage you guys to watch this, but basically if we go through here, it walks you through exactly how everything works. You can record narration here, which is awesome. I agree with, I agree that getting used to presenting live is something awesome to do. But if you were totally against that, this may be an option for you. You can kind of put your video together, then record voiceover for it in here. You can add your own music and all that stuff, and then preview it and share it. So it's pretty straightforward.
The only drawback I saw with this is the video. If you're importing video, it only can be 30 seconds.
Yeah, you have to pick 30.
So you'd have to maybe, if you were doing it for the movie review, you'd maybe do 30 seconds of something and maybe talk about it, and then maybe do another 30 seconds of a video if you even needed to at all. You could just have a still image and then do the voiceover and talk about the movie that you're reviewing. Or for other projects, you could use it in other. We're going to look at objects, like how objects are designed and what their affordances are and how they are intuitive to the user. So if you wanted to videotape yourself or videotape the object, just make sure it's just 30 seconds of video at a time.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I mean, you don't need a lot of video to do a lot.
And the way that I look at it, it kind of, and while it's a limitation, it really does encourage like editing,
right?
which is a big part of kind of putting video together. But let me go ahead and real quick add just a few elements here, just so we can talk about how to switch things around. So you also have access to icons here. So like if you're really icon heavy, or like you're doing something on iconography, you can look over here. So if I wanted like a fox, I can type in fox or whatever animal you'd like. And again, we have access to this big library that costs nothing because you're using on Spark, and it will add that image of a fox there. You can also change your layout and have maybe 2 objects on there at a time if you wanted. So foxes tend to go with hounds, so they don't. That's what the movie's about. So I'm gonna go ahead and just pick a dog here. Cool. So, and then over here, I'm gonna click on this slide, and I'm going to add I'm going to add some text. Fox and the hound. Cool. Perfect. So when I look through these here, you'll see down at the bottom I have these icons of the fox and the hound right here. Then I have the text. If I wanted the text before that, I simply click and drag. This is a click and drag interface. If I click on these 3 dots right here, I can duplicate or change stuff. If I wanted to change the duration of this thing, on the bottom right-hand side, it says 2 seconds where my cursor is. Click on that. I can click and drag to adjust the length of time. And the reason why I point this stuff out is because these are the things that you may run into kind of as you're working through Spark that maybe aren't super evident in the tutorials piece. And then you hit the record button to record, and then you can preview the video right here. I made a Mother's Day card for my mom using Spark, and I got all my siblings to send videos, and I put it all together as a slideshow with pictures. Like, she fell apart. So I'm happy to share that with you guys if you want. But when we're done with this, we'll hit share, and then we can either download the video for ourselves to upload to YouTube or wherever you'd like, or you can have Spark host it, walk through all this stuff. Because you have, if you use your Adobe issued license from the school, you can remove Spark branding on the end. Because basically, if you're part of Adobe Creative Cloud, you have access to removing that branding. Because at the end, it'll say made with Spark, which you may or may not want. And then we'll hit download the video, or create link to create the link, just like before. And essentially, like, those are the hardest parts of Spark. And hopefully you found that was pretty straightforward. It was built to be. And it's not built to be anything that should be occupying a ton of your time. It's built to be a quick vehicle for you to produce content. And just like in the previous one, you have themes. When you mouse over the themes, it'll show you kind of how they transition between slides, what they look like. And the cool thing is, if you're working halfway, if you're 3/4 of the way through the project and you're like, I don't like this theme anymore, I can easily just click on the theme and it will adjust all of the elements in it. We don't have a ton of access to like font choices or things like that. They really rely on the theme for this, but this is really built to be a really straightforward way to create content. And then if you have music you want to add, click on music. There's a bunch of stuff that's built in there for you, but you can also add any music that's downloaded to your library that you've purchased, like through Google Play or what have you, or a copy that you got off a CD. Things like one thing that I found is that content that you've gotten from Apple Music has digital rights management on it, so you're unable to upload that stuff because Adobe Spark sees it and won't let you do it. So just something to look out for if you're planning on putting in a song that you have on your devices. But essentially, that's kind of how Spark works. I'd love to know if there are any questions that you guys have before we kind of close the chapter on this.
Yeah, if you guys have questions or think of something, you could type it in. Yeah. I'm going to let Brian go so he can go home and do whatever he does. But I'm going to stay here with you for a few minutes. We probably don't need to chat too much longer, but I do want to go over a few more things before I sign off. And but Brian's our expert here on Spark, and if he's kind enough, I'll give you all his email on the Notebowl site. I'll post it. So if you haven't gotten your free license to Creative Cloud, you could contact him and he'll give you the instructions on how to do that. But he doesn't need to watch me go over the syllabus anymore. So he can kind of slip out. But cool. So far we haven't seen any questions, so I guess he's good to go.
Yeah, no worries. Just one last thing about Spark. With Adobe Creative Cloud, you have access to like Photoshop and all those other things, and Spark is a part of that. But when you're done with university, Spark is a free service. It doesn't cost anything. So like if you use this and you wind up liking it and you want to use it for other projects, or you get into a job where you need to generate social media content really quick or what have you, like know that like Spark is something that you can use even beyond your collegiate setting, because you have access to it for free. Cool, guys.
That's great.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you later. And like I said, please feel free to email me if you have any questions. I'm here for that.
Okay.
Cool.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Unless you want to stay for 5 more minutes.
You can stay.
Stay, and then I do have questions for you.
Yeah, if anything pops up, I guess I'm hanging out.
Yeah, Brian's going to hang out. So he is definitely a really useful asset on campus for questions. So, okay, so all right, let me see where we are at here. I'm going to stop sharing the Spark, and I am. So you all know, like your weekly voice thread is something you're going to do every week. So you're going to want to do that. You have reading every week. Expand the ideas that you find interesting, because like this class, like any class, I'm sure you know, the more you put into it, the more you'll get out of it. So some of the reading might be kind of dry, but you'll find something that's really interesting. So just dive deep on that and see if there's more to it that you might be interested in. So the topic discussions, this is where, like, if you did do the Spark thing, you could paste the URL here, and I could either play it during the Google Hangout for that week, or people could go and look at it later. I probably will put it on Notebowl and during the comment on it, and that way you guys can share your research with each other, which is really exciting. So that's the topic discussion. So, you know, you just fill in here, click in your name, whether you're going to do it live or not, and then so forth. And so if you can be as specific as possible about what you're going to talk about so nobody does the same thing, that would be great. Or, you know, if you have a friend in the class and you want to do something together, that would be fine as well. Anyways, that's the topic discussion, Notebowl, BBC. Okay, so what I wanted to go over was the syllabus, which is really long, so I'm going to skim over it pretty fast. And I forgot to say, so, you know, I'm your professor for the class. I have a background in graphic design. I lived in New York City a long time, which is a great place for design. So if you guys are traveling, try to take advantage of local assets for design. My office hours are the day before this, from 5 to 6, or just send me an email and we can start a Google Hangout or a Skype and chat anytime about any questions you have. This technology is new and changing all the time. So like I said, don't be bashful or embarrassed that you don't know how to do it all, because it's changed. I mean, I actually had issues with this class with the Google Hangouts because the people at Google changed the software. So things are always changing. So that's kind of what makes it exciting. And so you just have to kind of go with the flow. So the class, you're going to be learning about design and the vocabulary, literacy skills. There's a lot of information in the readings that you're going to be doing. So that's really great. So this is your general kind of syllabus. And I'm going to just assume that you're reading that. Oops. Oh, sorry. Good thing Brian's here. He's
I don't know.
helping me. Okay, stop presenting. Stop. Okay, and then let me go to the other window. Okay, here we go. I'm talking away and you guys don't see what I'm seeing. Okay, so anyways, this general syllabus, office hours, how to contact me. You need to read it. I don't want to read it out loud, but you should definitely read it. It'll answer a lot of questions. The weekly broadcast, I'm really glad to see you all here today. I think it's a lot of fun to be here together. And like I said, if you can't make it for some reason, you can always watch it later. If you happen to want to do an honors contract, you know, let me know about that. Regular grading policy. Then there's technical information here. So if you need help, certainly go back to that. I think it's pretty clear. These are when the weekly broadcasts are going to be. They're always going to be at 5 Tucson time. All of these dates on Wednesdays. Here's some more software information for you. I do have some documents about VoiceThread under the documents, but you can also go to their website. That will, they have lots of information, how-tos on that. And here's a link to the Adobe Spark one. Hopefully you have a camera or something that you can take pictures with. If you don't, you can always go to the computer lab at UTIS, and they actually have a gear to go, so you can check out cameras and computers. You can get computers from the library. So if you have a problem that your computer's not working, you can check one out at the library, which is very awesome. So then we have just general academic codes. So certainly read those. Then a lot of information about the VoiceThread. So it looks like people have figured that out. If you're having problems with it, let me know. And so each week there's a different VoiceThread. You can go ahead and read what they are. You can, I think you might even be able to do these ahead of time. But anyways, I'll be opening them up so that you can participate with them. They have to do with readings or watching videos, and then you sort of go with the topic. Then you have your topic discussions, which I've talked about, and you have to sign up for the topic discussion by the end of this week at 11:30. And I would hate for people to lose points. So all of the work for each week is due on Sunday night at 11:30. So be really conscientious about making sure you get stuff in on time so you don't lose points about it. So that's kind of there. There's a quiz each week, which is also due at 11:30 on Sunday night. There are about 25 questions. They have to do with the readings, the videos, and what we go over during this during these chats. And then there's 2 project assignments, one of which is the I'll go over it at the end, but one is the movie review, and these movies are about design, and then the other one you can actually is a creative project, and there's 5 different prompts, so you can choose whichever one is appealing to you and do it in whatever way you want. You can do it a very visual project. You could use Spark. You could use you could paint a painting. They're really open to how you do them. And then if you don't want to do it that side of creative and you want to actually write a paper, you can do that too. So there's a lot of options there. And then we have the weekly timeline that, as I said, I'll post on the bulletin board each week. So hopefully everything's clear. And then the projects are at the end. And then I think also at the end, there's sort of a bibliography with the links again. So if you're missing anything, there's other books on the line that you can use. So if you're not interested in anything exactly the way you want, you can check out those other books and you might find some other point of view that you might want to take off on. So that's the syllabus. I think there's even questions about the syllabus on the first quiz. So you all have some reading and some watching to do, and sort of planning for our semester on looking at design. And so I hope it opens your eyes up to design of everyday objects and sort of in your environment, like how things work, how are decisions made about mice, so there's all kinds of things you can look at and think about as you're doing these readings that are going to give you some vocabulary to think about visual 2-dimensional design, animation, websites. And I'll also be posting some things that I think are really interesting on the bulletin. And I encourage you to comment on those. And if you happen to come across something that you want to share with the class, that would be great too. So if there's any questions, now's the time, because I'm going to click on the little button that stops the broadcast. And I look forward to working with you guys this summer. The 5 weeks is going to go really fast, but it's hot outside, so we can have a lot of fun watching videos and staying out of the heat if you're in Tucson. So thank you all very much for coming today. I really appreciate your time being here, and I really look forward to getting to know you and talking about design. So, all right. Have a great night. Goodbye.
Bye.